So a couple of things. When we're talking pressure in your feet, even though we're not standing on force plates, it certainly looks like there's far too much pressure back here, yeah?
Yeah.
We know that the best players in the world have roughly about 55% of their pressure in their left foot. So there's not quite enough there. All right. And then we start talking about where this handle's leaning at the moment. It's leaning a bit too far back, and we want to try and lean it a bit further forward, so it'll point, the butt of the golf club there will point into your left groin. Okay. So then from there, we're going to start seeing things shift a little bit. So you can see that first movement off it. It even moves further into that right foot. Okay. So if we talk about moving that hub, we'll tend to move the low point of the golf swing too far behind the golf ball. Okay. So it gets super, super wide here. Okay. So super wide here. And that's when the arms go up and we get that disconnection. Yeah? And then all of a sudden we start to move the pressure left into that foot, and then it gets super, super narrow on the way down. Okay, so that's why there's the inconsistencies in ball flights. You know, one we'll start to see one go 20 yards further than the other.
Yeah.
And they'll all
notice that.
and they'll feel the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll start talking about the other side in a second. And we see the balance on your feet.
Yeah. Terrible. Yeah.
Okay. So we go back to the other side. We start to look at the body shape here. It's probably a little bit too much on your heels to begin with. So there's a bit too much weight on back here, so the pressure will be on your heels a little bit more. So we already know that it shifts off it, it moves up, it drops back down in on the way down, and it gets to a reasonable position, you know, if we're just talking about a shaft plane, but because of what your body's done, you're starting to back away from it. You know, you're going this way, and that's why you move your left foot on the way through. So you're caught and stuck, and now it's going to go out to the right too much. So the path of the golf club is going to go this way a bit too much. So if we then bring in our numbers from TrackMan, and the club path is 4.2 degrees out to the right. So it's probably a bit too much for our liking. Yeah. So as we start to move forward, we're going to start to see this handle here track a little bit more this way on the way through, rather than out. Right. So if you can understand that the path going that far that way, if you kick a football with your foot moving that far that way, it'll have a curvature in the air, right? And vice versa, if we kick a football across it like that, the curvature will be the opposite way. So if you can understand that those two lines are pretty significant from our standpoint. Okay. And then we'll see the shaft and the hand path here come up very, very high on the way through when it should be coming around there. Okay, and that's the byproduct of all the other stuff that's just happened. So, how do we do this? We start you from a better position at address and keep the pressure on that left foot, and we don't move you. I want you to keep that pressure there. The reality is this thing moving around at speed, that'll have a bit more pressure going to your right foot, but you won't move it. Okay, you won't move this. You'll just rotate this way and it'll push into that foot anyway. Okay. So you won't need to think about that too much. And then from there, we'll just preset. We'll do a couple of things where we'll preset the golf club roughly just outside your right leg and the club parallel to the ground. Okay. So we won't have any disconnection with your upper body. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And play it through in real speed, you know, your rhythm and all that kind of stuff is really cool. But it's just moving around a little bit too much. There's too much going on. Okay.